Welcome back to the Hold My Crown podcast. I'm so excited that you are here hanging out with me and no co-host. Daniel actually may pop in a bit, but we are talking about all things pageant, and we haven't had a pageant episode in a while. I am very excited to dive in to will Miss USA be canceled? Like canceled as in the actual pageant, canceled as in just will there be a Miss USA next year? What is going on with the organization? I have a lot to talk about and a lot of details to jump into. I hope you enjoyed our previous episodes these last few weeks. We definitely were talking about mine and Daniel's background and how we were raised, and that kind of talks and kind of connects to a lot of stuff that's been going on like in the media lately. But now we're getting back to kind of the heart of this podcast, talking about pageantry. And we've always talked about everything, but I really love it when we go back to my roots and talk about something that was such a big part of my life. Being Miss USA back in my day, which makes me feel old, but back 10 years ago was a whole nother experience. Being Miss USA when I was Miss USA was the minute you win, the next morning they fly you to New York City. You live in a beautiful building that overlooks Central Park. I had a view of Central Park from my dining room window. I could watch. I was in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade and finished. I got the driver took me back to my apartment, and then I could watch the rest of it. Like I watched the last 20 minutes of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade from my window of where I lived. Like it was a magical experience. It was a dream come true. You have a salary, you have a personal driver, you have a manager that sends you an email at 5 p.m. every day to tell you what the schedule for the next day. You're traveling often first class to different states and different countries to represent the US. And then you compete at Miss Universe. Like being Miss USA when I was Miss USA was an incredible life-changing experience. The organization was also partially owned by NBC Universal, so it was on that network. It was on one of those channels. We did huge appearances during a media week where we're meeting with Kelly Ripa, and we are on Good Morning America. It was just wild becoming Miss USA and living with Miss Universe. And things have changed, to say the least. So the last 2 to 3 years of Miss USA have been drastically different. Even before that, it was a little different. Miss USA for a year or two was living in LA, and she got I think it was a Porsche as her prize package. She was paid 6 figures, which was a lot more than I was paid, let me tell you. I think the salary when I was Miss USA was the same salary as like 1994. It never increased. So that was one kind of like quote unquote downside. But other than that, the current Miss USA, you guys, is just experiencing something completely different. I feel like a lot of the regalness and even like the fame of being Miss USA and the platform that you're put on has been completely stripped away. And to be quite honest, I'm really disappointed in the organization, and we will dive deep into multiple points of what has been happening and why Miss USA might just be completely canceled. Like, I don't know if there's going to be a pageant this year. So we'll get into all that in a minute. But one thing I do know, and that I've been able to see even from a distant like point of view as a viewer in the organization, is that the director has not been upholding any type of like high quality organization. And I hate to say that because when there's a new director, I think the whole pageant community, especially the Miss USA, Miss Universe pageant community, we have high hopes. We think, okay, fresh blood, new energy, it's going to revitalize the organization. And unfortunately, we keep getting let down. Before the current director, there was Crystal Stewart, which as a Miss USA sister, she's one of my sister queens. She's a former Miss USA. We had so many high hopes, and she did a lot of great things for the organization. It felt like it was going to be brought back to like the glamour days. It was glamorous. It was sexy. It was hot. The current Miss USA was doing appearances and in so many different places and had a beautiful apartment in Los Angeles and a car and a great prize package. And then there was the scandal, which I actually wonder I don't know if we've talked about that scandal specifically on this podcast, But if you are in the pageant community, you know what it is. I won't go into detail. It actually breaks my heart for Crystal because she was an incredible director from everything that I know and I saw. The biggest part of the scandal, it was kind of a two-part scandal, was that her husband was inappropriate with contestants. And it just like breaks my heart for her because she lost this incredible organization. She lost all of it because of this man. Like, I feel like there was the little scandal that I think was blown out of proportion of, oh, was the pageant rigged or not? And I think she could have gotten past that because I don't believe it was rigged. But the other side of it, it just took it away from her. And it's so disappointing because I know she wanted to do great things with the organization. So then the new owner came in. There was, first of all, new ownership at the universe level. And then the new owner of Miss USA came in, and we had high hopes as well. But I have to like figure out how I'm going to word things. I'm just going to say I heard from a little birdie, and that's all that I'm going to say is I heard from a little birdie that the Miss USA, when Layla took over, Noelia, was not treated well. And she was essentially bullied in her workplace. She was not respected. And there were a lot of parts of her prize package that just never happened. She was supposed to have an apartment fully paid for. She was told it was going to be in Miami. She was supposed to have a 6-figure salary. I don't know if any of that really worked out. I did hear that at one point the apartment came through, but it wasn't the best. And then I don't know if she ever even had a chance to fully live there before she became the first Miss USA ever to quit. So skip forward to, they replaced her with the new Miss USA, the first runner-up. Miss Teen USA, no one ever took over that title. And then they had the next pageant. So now we are here in the present with the current title holder, Alma Cooper, who is an incredible young woman, which I was very excited about because she's from Michigan and Daniel's from Michigan. So I'm like, all right, let's do this. Like, Michigan girl, she won. Very excited. Maybe the director learned her lesson from having a really bad experience with Noelia, who quit, and the Teen USA quit. And then having probably like a so-so experience just getting through the last few months with the replacement title holder. And then now maybe it's going to be great. That's what I was hoping. New pageant. I believe did she get it on TV? I think she got it on like national television. Like, we're doing big things. Like, this is happening. And then we are here. The present time, Miss USA and what she's experienced. So Miss USA from Michigan. She's Miss Michigan USA, Alma Cooper, an incredible woman. She works in the Army. I believe she's a part of our Army. She went to school at Stanford, I believe. She is just this incredibly accomplished, beautiful woman. And she's crowned Miss USA. We are ready for her to represent us at Miss Universe. We are ready to see her year, all the appearances that she's going to do, all the television appearances, the hospitals, the charity work. As a community, we are so excited for a brand new Miss USA under a director that hopefully has learned her lesson and is ready to just like take off and have this incredible new year. Like, it's a fresh start. That's how I viewed it. You know, everybody has moments, they have mistakes, they have like things that they can learn and grow from. I don't believe anybody's like bad. I believe that we have bad moments, but we can get better. And I really hope that for Layla. And I was really hoping that this new year for Miss USA was going to be absolutely incredible. But we're almost done with an entire year. I believe it's been almost 12 months that Miss USA has been Miss USA. As of now, there are no future dates announced for Miss USA. We don't know if it'll be on national television or not. And after the break, we're going to jump right into all the details of what the current Miss USA's year looks like right now. And again, I started off by telling you what my year was like. It was fabulous. It was glamorous. It was a lot and it was exhausting, but I knew it was an incredible opportunity and I wanted to make the most of it. And I don't know if Alma's gotten that. Well, she definitely has not gotten that opportunity, but I don't know if she's even gotten like the smallest taste of it, which is so disappointing. So we're going to jump into some of the craziness that has happened on the director side, the contestant side, the Miss USA side of things. And if you don't know all of these things, your mind is going to be blown because it is wild what the organization has turned into, even versus what it was 5 years ago, let alone 10 years ago when I was Miss USA. So let's take a quick break and we will get into all of the craziness that has happened in the last few months. Summer is full of big moments, whether it's weddings, vacations, and of course, endless photos and lots of fun. But if you're dealing with thinning or shedding of your hair, showing up and being present in those moments is hard. I know I had a really rough time 2 years ago when I felt like my hair was thinning and shedding all summer long after having the twins. That's why I'm excited to get back to Nutrafol postpartum formula for myself, especially as I'm going into this summer. The sooner you start, the sooner you will be feeling confident and focusing on what matters most to you. You may have heard of Nutrafol's hair growth supplements and wondered, do they actually work? It's a fair question. Many hair supplements overpromise and underdeliver, but Nutrafol is different. As the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand, it's trusted by over 1.5 million people and is clinically tested to deliver real results in just 3 to 6 months. I am one of those people. I have seen the real results. Everyone's root causes of hair thinning are different, so a one-size-fits-all approach to hair growth does not cut it. Nutrafol has multiple formulas designed to give your body what it needs to grow and support your hair's unique needs. Whether you're navigating postpartum, like I will be soon, menopause, or plant-based lifestyle, or simply looking to see less hair shedding, Nutrafol has got you covered. Adding Nutrafol to your routine is easy and no prescription is needed. Order online with free shipping and automated deliveries. Subscribe to save 20% and enjoy perks like one-on-one naturopathic consults and a free Headspace membership to support your hair growth journey. This summer, stop worrying about your hair and start making memories. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code HMC. Find out why Nutrafol is the best-selling hair growth supplement brand at Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code HMC. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code HMC. Welcome back from that break. Thanks for hanging with us. Oh, wow. We are talking all about Miss USA, the current Miss USA, and what her life is like right now versus what it honestly should be. There is a lot more kind of out there and in the public awareness than when Noelia was Miss USA. I don't know if the NDA changed. I don't know if Alma is just feeling a lot more free than Noelia did, because Noelia truthfully has not and legally cannot speak anything negative about the Miss USA organization. She is in an ironclad NDA. And I know she's spoken to lawyers. Like, you don't just quit an organization without speaking to lawyers. And if no one's been able to get her out of that NDA, it shows that it's really strong. Now, Alma, from what I have seen screenshots of, I don't go into like all the pageant blogs and like the kind of like Reddit threads. I don't get into all that, but I've seen the screenshots and it looks to me like she is publicly commenting on so many things that I really want to get into. But we're going to actually start with the comparison of Miss America and Miss USA right now, because they are so different. And I feel like in the past, it's always been like, oh, Miss USA is more glamorous and more, I don't want to say the word popular, but just like has more media coverage and just has a bigger platform and a bigger awareness. Everybody knows, of course, Miss America, that was the first pageant. So that's kind of what people's mind refer to. But when it came to the glamour and the like publicity and all of that, Miss USA was always just, and I say always, I'm talking about my time frame. When I was Miss USA, was always just this big platform, this big personality, this big experience. And it really truthfully has switched and flipped a little bit. So if you're kind of on the outskirts of the pageant world, the Miss America organization has a new director. They had a few years of turmoil where everyone in the media was critical of them. Former Miss Americas were very critical of the organization. The way that they removed the swimsuit competition, saying things along the lines of it's degrading to women instead of whatever. I just feel like they could have worded that better. Like there was a lot of turmoil within the organization. It passed through a few hands and no one was really supportive of the organization from like a former title holder point of view or the overall public point of view. But now they have an incredible new director who actually is from the USA organization. So Robin Gifford was the Miss Florida USA director, and then she got ownership of the Miss America pageant, and it has changed. It is so different. Miss America is doing huge appearances. I think she was recently like performing with the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. It was at one of their rehearsals. They're very on top of all the trends, TikTok trends, dance trends, social media trends. They are relevant. They're at every big event. They're at the Kentucky Derby. They're at galas. They're at award shows. Miss America is doing everything that Miss USA used to do and then some. And I do think a lot of that attests to Robin's leadership. I don't know Robin personally. I don't know her well. We have had some email exchanges in the past. I think she also was a part of the Miss California USA organization in the past. So I've had contact with her, but I don't have this like close personal relationship with her. But I can say for the Miss America organization, I'm so happy for them because they have gone from complete turmoil to an elevated experience for the title holders, for the viewers, for anyone involved in the organization. And on the flip side of that coin, we have Miss USA that had that elevated experience. And now Miss USA, I don't think it'll be on national television. Like I said, like the name of this episode might be canceled. We really, as a pageant community, from anyone that I've spoken to that's a part of the Miss USA community, is wondering like, will there be a Miss USA? Will there be a continuance of this legacy? Will there be a Miss USA competing at Miss Universe? I don't think Miss USA has ever not competed at Miss Universe since the beginning of its conception. But will that happen this year? Is Layla still directing? There's rumors that her contract is not going to be renewed, but it's all rumors. We don't know. I will get into what we do know in just 1 second. So you may have not noticed that at all, but there is a little pause right there.
Hey.
Yeah, we have a special guest. Mr. USA 2014 in the flesh.
That's
Welcome.
right. Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
I had to record a couple voiceover auditions real quick in the car that came in last minute. So where we at, baby?
This is a multitasking, multi-talented man.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're welcome. I just kind of shared the difference between Miss America and Miss USA right now because, one thing that
everybody mixes those things up.
Everybody mixes them up. And one thing you may have heard me say before on this podcast, and you'll hear it throughout the pageant community, it used to be, the quote is, Miss America is the girl next door. Like, oh, she's so sweet, the girl next door. And Miss USA is the girl you wish lived next door. And that used to be like, that used to be the quote.
It
still kind of is.
It's kind of brutal, though.
It is a little brutal, but that is...
You did not make that up. We did not make that up. That's a common thing.
It's a common quote in the pageant world.
In the pageant world.
Yes. So
just to make that clear.
Yeah. But now Miss USA is a whole nother level of just not being what it used to be. So that's what we're diving into right now.
Messy.
I will tell you. Let me tell you, baby. Let me break it down. Tell me what you think about this.
Break it down for me.
So, life as Miss USA, you know what my life was like as Miss USA.
Yes.
Fly to New York City. It's glamorous. You have a manager. You have a driver. You don't pay for your groceries. You don't pay for your rent. You're overlooking Central Park. Like,
you're living in
fabulous.
New York, expense free.
Exactly.
Basically.
Yes. Unless you want to go out to dinner, but everything else delivered to your front door. Like you are living the life.
You are taken well care of.
Yes. Plus you have a salary. Not a big salary, but
Miss USA queen.
Yes.
Should be taken care of.
Exactly. Now the current Miss USA.
Yeah, your salary was crap.
Salary was it was the same salary from 1994. Like It didn't change. So that's crazy.
It's interesting.
So
inflation.
I'm going to give a little bullet points and then break down to the details of what I know about
Please
the current
do.
Miss USA's experience.
Please do.
Essentially, no salary.
What?
Crazy.
What do you mean essentially no salary?
I'll give you the details in a second. No housing. No clear prize package. No true support going to Miss Universe, which is an insane task to take on. No real help booking appearances. The current Miss USA has little to no organizational support, and there's like just huge growing concerns in the pageant community. Let me tell you, I have not spoken to Alma. So this is all from what I've seen from screenshots where I've seen that she has commented on pageant community threads, that these are screenshots of things she said, but I have not personally spoken to her. So this is all that I know from hearsay in the pageant community, people that may be a little bit closer to her inner circle, and screenshots I've seen, and then also just what I've noticed from an outside point of view, being a former Miss USA myself.
Alma is the current USA.
Yeah,
Miss USA.
from
Michigan.
Woohoo!
Go blue, go blue.
I was so excited for that part. But okay, so breaking it down.
This sounds insane.
It's insane.
So is she living in Michigan?
I mean, she could be living on a couch. Like, we don't know.
You don't.
And I only say that.
She's not living on a couch under the bridge.
I only say that because I know that, again, from a little birdie, that Noelia, when she was Miss USA, she thought she was getting her prize package, a 6-figure salary, an apartment, a car, like all these things in her prize package. So she actually like cut her lease on her place that she lived in Utah. She got out of her lease because she was going to be Miss USA.
Right, given this package.
And again, not from Noelia, from a little birdie, I heard that she was like literally couch surfing for a while because she had nowhere to live and the organization was not providing a place for that, was not providing part of her prize package, which was in the contract.
In Utah, or didn't they try to like relocate her to
family and friends in different
Florida?
Places. That was supposed to happen.
Right.
And she had family in Florida.
Gotcha.
But she was never given I don't want to say never. I think there was an apartment towards the end before she quit that was provided, but it was like very much at the allegedly. Jeez. That's a great word. I need to use that.
Wow. You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay. So the current Miss USA, I have seen screenshots where someone was like, is there a conflict between the Army paying her and Miss USA paying her? Does she have to pick one salary or the other? And I've seen screenshots that she responded saying, there's no conflict, but I have not been paid as Miss USA. And I was like,
She's still actively serving in the Army?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, she's still active in the military.
Wow.
I know that she's living in San Francisco, and there has never been a contract or a promotion or a prize package announcement of Miss USA living in San Francisco. Like, that's not a thing. It would be LA, Miami, or New York.
Right.
And she's living in San Francisco because that's where she went to school.
Okay.
And she went to school there and at Stanford, and then her boyfriend also lives out there.
Gotcha.
So she's, just paying her own rent, living with, I don't know if she lives with her boyfriend or not, but living in San Francisco. And,
do they just not care at this point?
I don't know if they care. I've also heard.
What is she saying on her social media? I mean, besides kind of what you've already said.
She's literally posting about her personal life. Like, she is a runner. So I would say 90% of her posts are about running.
She was running.
Oh my gosh, you can't say that.
Run Forrest. There's the Run Forrest.
I know, and I love Forrest Gump. But literally, that's like her thing, and that's what she's passionate about, and that's what she posts about. But it's like, but are you doing anything as Miss USA? I know she was at the Kentucky Derby. I've also heard rumors that Layla has
doing an appearance
as Miss USA.
Okay.
I think she's
so somebody's there
in the last
out there somewhere.
Someone's out. Well, I think she could be having her friends or people that reach out to her personally say, "Hey, we want you here," and she's like, "Okay, I'll do it. Can you pay for the flight? Can you pay for the hotel?" That's what it seems like is happening right now.
Who is running Miss USA right now?
Her name is Layla.
Okay.
She is the director.
Okay.
I've also heard rumors. I hate that this podcast is all rumors, but they're from well-established people very well established people
Sources.
in the community. I
Yes.
have sources.
Right.
And that are actually close to her. And I've heard that her contract is not being renewed. But what does that mean for the organization? Because Miss USA, I feel like, barely happened last year. And now we should have already had an announcement of a location, a date. The contestants should be getting ready. But none of that has happened.
For Miss Universe?
For Miss USA.
Right, because she already competed at Miss Universe.
Yes.
Sorry, catching up. A lot of stuff going on around here, okay?
Speaking of
Take a race.
her competing at Miss Universe, I've seen screenshots of, again, her commenting on a public space saying that she had no support getting ready for Miss Universe.
Wow.
She had found her own costume designer, her own gown designer, secured her own wardrobe. And this is something that when I was Miss USA, let's do a little compare and contrast. They had the costume designer for Heidi Klum's Halloween parties.
Jeez, oh, Paige.
That was my costume designer for
like
Miss Universe.
The best of the best.
The best of the best. For a
You had
Victoria's
a team.
Secret runway supermodel, I had the same costume designer as her.
Plus, your state director was also really involved.
Oh, yeah. My state director, Shayna, was so supportive of me in any way, shape, or form that I needed. When I was Miss USA, they had a budget, a few $1,000s for Miss Universe wardrobe. And then on top of that, they took it into the tailor. So everything fit my body perfectly for even just my daily wardrobe. And I remember my stylist, Marquise, was like, you want to customize everything to perfectly fit you? He's like, this is going to be really expensive. I don't know if they've ever paid this much for tailoring before. And I said, yes. This is my Miss Universe wardrobe. I want to go all out. Yes. And they covered, they footed the bill. They covered the cost of it. Every little detail was taken care of.
I know.
And I didn't have to even give it a second thought. I had multiple dress options for Miss Universe.
Besides your laundry getting dried, because I dried that with a hair blow dryer.
Well, I'm
hair
gonna
blow dryer?
Yeah, blow dryer. Yeah.
Hair blow dryer?
I'm going to say
hanging on your furniture?
Yes. I'm going to say I was also, again, so well taken care of as Miss USA. I didn't know where the building's laundry room was because I never did my own laundry. The house cleaners did our laundry.
Wow.
So when I had to wash my underwear before Miss Universe and my sports bras, my man was washing it in the sink and using a blow dryer.
Yes, I was.
To get everything dry so I could pack it the night before I left to Miss Universe.
Yes, I was.
I was well taken care of by the organization and my man.
That's right.
Yes.
Don't you forget it.
Exactly. So from Alma's point of view, on the outside, me looking in, the few screenshots I've seen and the people on the inside that have spoken to her, she is not living the life that she may have imagined is Miss USA life if she, maybe was a fan of the organization even 5 years ago, which is so unfortunate because you win your state so you can become Miss USA and travel and live this glamorous life and go to Miss Universe. And I know her Miss Universe experience was not what she had hoped it to be because she had to get ready on her own. That is wild to me.
So I don't know if you've already covered this, but when did kind of the demise or the downfall start happening with Miss USA? It seems like it was when they split from the Miss Universe organization.
That is a really good point to make because it's not...
They didn't split, but...
They kind of split.
They kind of split.
So formerly, the Miss Universe organization, which is like the mother, the head of of all the different countries, they were directly taking care of the Miss USA and Miss Teen USA title holders as well. So they were in charge of the Miss Universe title holder, the Miss USA, and the Miss Teen USA. Everything else was more of like a franchise. They didn't have their hands directly in Miss Venezuela or Miss Australia. They were all franchisees. The Miss USA pageant was directly underneath them.
Right.
When the new owner in Thailand bought the Miss Universe organization, that's when there was the separation and Miss USA now needed a new owner individually. That's when Crystal Stewart took over, which I already did cover.
Okay.
And then there was a scandal with her and all that didn't work out. And now we have this new current owner, Layla Rose, which I had high hopes for. I still have
So it was Crystal Stewart and then Layla took over and she's been
for like 2.5 years now.
2.5 years.
Yes,
Wow.
because she was a director for Noelia, then Savannah, who took over when Noelia quit, and now the current title holder, Alma.
Step down.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love the better choice of words.
Yeah.
Thank
She
you.
didn't quit.
No?
She stepped down.
Okay.
She's not a quitter.
All right. That's true.
She stepped down.
She stepped down. I
Right.
like that. She relinquished her title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she was not treated well.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Because she had to. She couldn't stay in that work environment.
Right.
Yes. All right. I like your perspective. This is working for me.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. So, one thing that I haven't mentioned yet, we've only talked about Alma and her experience.
Mm-hmm.
I have not talked about in the last month, so many state directors have stepped down. Directors that have been with the organization.
Wait, quit or step down?
I don't know. You tell me.
We'll have to have them on the pod.
Yeah, literally. Maureen, you want to come hang out?
Yeah.
Come talk next time you're in LA? Multiple directors from multiple organizations that have multiple states under them and have been with the organization.
You said multiple organizations, so you're talking about
Like,
Miss America and other organizations?
No, multiple. What is it like when you have? It's your own. It's their
Franchise?
own company, like Future Productions or like Star Productions. It's like their own organization that's like a franchise underneath
Miss USA?
Miss USA.
Okay.
So, like, for example, I think it's Future Productions has Oregon, Idaho, and Washington.
Gotcha.
And they have their whole thing. They set up a gala every year. Like, they have a variety of things underneath their organization, but they run 3 state pageants.
And they have stepped down.
They've stepped down.
So they're no longer Future Productions.
No.
No, there's
No future.
no future there.
No. It's so
Nope.
sad.
Just stopped in the present.
And they, along with other directors, like a few months ago, I think it was, RPM stepped down, which was a huge directorship that had like 5+ states. A lot of the big southern states they've won a lot of the titles.
So a lot of people are stepping down.
So many.
Right.
And it's like shocking because also think about being a title holder. For example, Shayla, who was one of my clients that I've coached since she was 13 years old, she's still the current Miss Oregon USA.
What's she doing?
Her director's gone. We don't know who the new director is going to be.
What?
There's no pageant for her to pass her crown on to the next girl. We don't know if they're just going to appoint someone or if they're going to host a pageant. Like, it is
messy
mayhem within the organization. I have seen within the last probably week or two from when we're recording this, 4 new state directors announced. Britt Boyce, who was the director of Arizona, I didn't even realize, I missed it that she stepped down because now there's a new director, some guy. I don't know who he is. I'm sure he's hopefully has some experience. I don't know. DC, a former Miss DC USA. Actually, I do know who she is, and I think she'll be an amazing director, but she just got appointed as a director. It's like the whole system feels like it's falling apart.
I mean, if you're a great director, even in your state or, whatever it is, you're still going to hit a roadblock when you're dealing with the Miss USA organization.
Absolutely. Because I'm sure they're thinking this is a great opportunity, but I also feel like they don't understand the lack of support from a national director point of view. Let's take a little break. We'll come right back with some advice and words and thoughts for any people that are looking to be future contestants. Because what does all this mean for you? So let's take a little break. We'll be right back.
Not me with what's going on with all this stuff.
What?
I take.
We're taking a break. Hold on.
I'd be taking a break from competing.
You tell him, baby. Okay, we'll be right back.
Just kidding.
Welcome back from the break. Are you a contestant? Are you a future contestant? Are you a former contestant? Are you a title holder right now and you don't have a future pageant to crown a successor. What life is wild within the Miss USA organization.
We want to know. Get in these comments.
Drop a comment.
We want to know what's going on in your state.
You know what? Maybe we can have people email us anonymously and tell us their perspective, or just shoot me a DM and I won't say your name if you don't want me to. I feel like that would be so fun.
Tweet.
Okay.
Come on, birdies.
So here's the deal. If you don't know, and you found this podcast because you're searching pageant podcasts and you found this episode, I'm a pageant coach. And so I have to have a lot of serious conversations.
No kidding.
With my clients going into their state pageants, especially within the USA organization. I coach I coach across the board. I currently have a contestant competing for Miss World. I've had contestants competing for Miss International, Miss Earth, Miss, like all of it. But when I'm talking to my Miss USA contestants, it's a whole different ballgame. So I'm going to share some of the thoughts that I share with them, with you listening right now. So
what is their, are they worried? Are they scared? Or are they just going in saying, obviously they just want to win.
Right.
And then hope for the best once that happens.
Yeah. And that's kind of the thought for a lot of girls, but I have the conversation of you need to know, like, you need to have like realistic expectations.
Yeah.
Because you can't go in thinking, well, Miss USA, it's going to make me famous and I'm going to get all this exposure and then whatever.
They're going to get me ready for Miss Universe and this is my dream to compete. I'm going to be ready and I'm going to be taken care of and I'm not going to have to do it all myself and it's going to be
we have to set expectations.
Not as stressful. All right.
So it depends on your state director, but I tell my girls, really, you need to be, 1, focused on being an incredible state title holder. 2, know who your director is, because, for example, here in California, I have a handful of California girls. Kristen Bradford has been in the pageant industry forever.
Yeah.
If you win Miss California USA, you're going to have a great year as a title holder.
Yeah.
She's not going to let you down.
Kristen's awesome.
Yeah, she's going to let you, do your appearances. She's going to make it a great year for you as a state title holder.
Right.
Same for someone like Shayna Moakler at like Utah or Nevada. She's great. One thing I love about her when I was her title holder was she was like, tell me what kind of year you want to have.
Yeah.
Because she's like, if you want to be doing appearances left and right, I'll get you appearances.
I got you. Right.
But like if you want to have a quieter year and just focus on Miss USA, like we can do that as well. So know who your director is, and that will kind of set your expectations for a year as a state title holder. If you win Miss USA, your expectations need to be on the floor, which is so sad to say.
That's really sad.
But I do have the conversation of if you win your state and if you want to win Miss USA, you better be ready to just shoot yourself straight up to Universe and try to win Miss Universe. Like Arbany did from Texas, who won Miss USA.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, was not allowed to have support. I know Crystal would have supported her, but there was all that drama.
Right.
But she went ahead and won Miss Universe, and she had an incredible year as Miss Universe. So that's it's almost like a dead zone in the middle. Sure, you'll have the title, but from what we've seen the last 2 years, you're not getting any support. So you need to figure out your own gown, your own everything for Miss Universe and do your best to win Miss Universe, because while I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of the owners of the Miss Universe organization, the girl does. I mean, I don't know if she's ever been back in New York, like if she ever gets to settle down. The current Miss Universe is all over the world. I feel like she never goes home.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Constant.
Where is she right now? What big thing is happening in the world? She's wherever something is happening. She's in the Philippines. She's in Thailand. She's in Europe. She's in South America. Like she is all over. And I feel like she never gets to go back to her home base.
Wow.
Which is got to be exhausting. But if you're trying to be Miss Universe and get that exposure, then if you're a contestant here in the U.S., that's what you shoot for. Like, am I Miss Universe ready? Because some girls in the past would say, I want to be an incredible Miss USA and represent my country and further my platform. And like, I'd love to do well at Miss Universe. Woo!
I was trying to hold that for a while.
It's the biggest sneeze I've ever heard in my life. What the heck?
I'm allergic to bullshit.
Wow. So anywho, being Miss Universe is like the goal if you are a contestant at the like state and local level. Any other thoughts on Miss Universe and Miss USA? I just feel it's so important for contestants to know and set their expectations, because you don't want to go in here thinking you're going to have an incredible year as Miss USA, because you're about to be booking all your own appearances and maybe not getting paid, definitely not getting an apartment, not getting your Porsche part of your prize package. Like, expect 0. And just like, you need to have your own connections, your own support, your own everything. Pay for your own PR team. Like, maybe put aside a budget for that, which PR is very expensive. I would say on the cheapest end, PR, like a good PR team's like $5,000 a month. So you got $15,000 to get you started. You know, because maybe you say, and usually they make you book 3 months. So, you know, set aside $15,000 for your first 3 months as Miss USA.
You poor things.
Also, I'm having a contraction right now.
Oh, baby.
We're filming this while I'm pregnant.
Not pregnant. Having contractions.
Yeah.
This baby could be coming right here.
By the time you hear this, the baby will probably already be here. We'll see. Who knows? Craziness. Anywho, back to work. Final thoughts. We do not have an announcement of when the next Miss USA is. That's why this episode is like, will Miss USA be canceled? I truly don't know. Are they going to replace Layla? Is Layla going to have a small pageant? Is she just going to appoint title holders across the country? Because Shayla's still Miss Oregon. Like, the current Miss so-and-so is still Miss so-and-so. Like,
has
no
she
state
made
pageants.
any statements? I mean, obviously she's got to be hearing about all this.
Right, not public statements. She has, all I've seen her post recently is like, oh, new director of DC, new director of Arizona. But it's like, okay, but when are the pageants happening? Like, have you supported any of your directors truthfully? No?
Wow.
It's wild. I feel like I need to get Noelia back on the podcast to at least talk about what's up now, because she's working with RPM, but outside of the Miss Universe organization. So we need to have Noelia back to be like, I know you can't talk about your year. We respect that. But like, tell me what's going on now. Since being Miss USA.
You can't talk about your year because of NDAs?
She has an NDA, but it seems like Alma is not abiding by that because.
Did you have an NDA?
No one has ever made any title holder sign an NDA besides this current director.
Wow.
Because I am free to talk about how I almost got fired as Miss USA, which is like episode 3 of this podcast. I am free to talk about Donald Trump's friends being creeps.
I was just double checking because I was like, well, we are about to get sued.
No, I am free to talk about any of my experiences as Miss USA.
Crazy. Because
it is my life and my experience, and they would never think of muzzling someone for their own experience.
Yeah.
And the organization, when I was a part of it, I feel like they held themselves to such a high standard.
Exactly.
There was nothing to sign an NDA over.
Yeah.
What are you hiding? What are you afraid of?
They were confident in what they were doing.
Yes, and how they handled themselves.
And how they took care of their
people.
Holders.
Absolutely. So it is pretty wild. But we should have Noelia back. And hey, girl, come hang out. I need to text her. Because there's so much tea I'm sure she could spill now.
All right.
On the back end. All right. That's the episode.
Woohoo.
Well, thank you for hanging out. I love that we got a little pageant episode in. And we love you guys. Thanks for hanging out. We will see you next week on the Hold My Crown podcast.
Peace out, y'all.
Yay Media Group.